What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of Friendly Fire. I am Brian Daniels, and I'm here with my man Josh Thunder Shaver. I had to
Yo.
I had to do it like that because of how you and Victor do the podcast.
Yeah, dog. Well, that's my official name. Just add a PhD to the end of it, and you're good.
Hey, I think we might finally get Victor in here. We're waiting on Victor to get in here, but yeah, he's still buffering.
Technical difficulties.
For those that
I
are
figured.
looking, but yeah,
I figured if anyone, it would be me because we've got that nasty storm going on. I don't know if you guys are getting it down south, but it's horrendous.
No, we're just you guys are having winter stuff going on, right?
No, it's not winter; it's rain, but it's like heavy winds and blowing stuff over. And
No,
if you hear sirens a bunch, don't be surprised either.
Oh, it's just a little bit of rain here.
Oh man, no, it's bad.
Yeah,
I knocked out my work internet earlier.
Thankfully, I don't live up north anymore, so I don't have to worry about all that crazy shit all the time. But anyway, guys, we're live, and we haven't done this show in a while, but we're gonna try to do it every week on probably Wednesday, which I think will be a good day. Wednesday or Thursday, one of the 2 days. And today, we're gonna be talking about $70 video games and how that has been a thing now since 2020 when Sony kicked it off with Demon's Souls and Returnal. And then, of course, NBA 2K became the first third-party game to also go $70 as well. And then we're also going to talk about Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom because it is the first $70 Nintendo Switch game, which I don't know that. Yeah, right.
I didn't know they hit that yet. I was oblivious to that.
Yeah, man. So we're going to talk about that. But first, let's do some casual conversation because I like for Victor to be a part of the main conversation.
Right.
Josh, what have you been playing lately, man? What you been getting into?
Well, as you know on Twitch, I've been doing the playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and we're just about to finish that. So I've been trying to figure out another good fun game. Really, I haven't been playing a lot on my own. My brother-in-law brought over the Resident Evil 4 VR the other night, and we had a real good time playing that. Like I know, everyone that listens to our podcast knows that I'm pretty against Resident Evil 4 being the next remake game.
Yeah.
But the VR version is pretty dope.
Yeah, the VR version is pretty cool. I have it on the Quest 2, and I have yet to actually really get into it.
It's good.
I think it's gonna make me really tired playing for probably about 30 to 40 minutes because you're moving around and all this.
I definitely got a workout doing my dodges and stuff. And
I was gonna say you're definitely gonna get a workout from it, but it's fun. I think for me, what I've been getting to is a lot of things recently. So I got the Spider-Man remastered for the PS5.
Nice. So, I've been wanting to. I haven't bit that yet. Is it on sale or anything right now?
Well, it's only $20 if you have PS Plus Extra and you download Spider-Man Miles Morales, you can get it for $20.
Okay. Well, see, I own Miles, and I know the only way to get it is through like the menu in the Miles game. Yeah. But like right now, there's a lot of Sony games on sale, so that's why I asked.
Yeah. And then so I've been playing that because I just finished up Miles Morales on the PS5 because I wanted to experience the PS5. What it looks like on there. And then I was like, well, let me go ahead and pick up Spider-Man because I never played the DLCs of Spider-Man. So,
those are so fun.
Yeah, I never played the DLCs for Spider-Man. So I'm going to obviously beat the story. And
get
then
the platinum.
I'm going to try to get all the trophies too and platinum it. But I've been playing that. And then I also picked up the Metroid Prime Remaster.
Nice.
Which that is sick. I actually never played through all the way Metroid Prime when it came out on GameCube many years ago. So I'm actually just now really getting into that and been playing that for a bit. And that is an amazing game. And then I can't think of anything else I've been playing at the moment outside of those two. Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart came out for the Xbox Game Pass, and it's on PS5, and that is an interesting game.
Yes. I and I say actually like I don't normally, but like I was actually watching your stream of it the other night, and that was fun.
Yeah.
That looked real fun. I was like, man, fuck you, Xbox, for making me want to play one of your games.
Yeah, that's a fun. That a lot of people don't
fun.
like it because of the dialogue, and I'm like, it's dialogue. Like, you know, that's why everybody.
Yeah.
That's why I think people getting upset over dialogue is weird. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
To be mad about. I think the game is a lot of fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed.
Right.
What I play for it. What I've played of it so far.
Good.
So
Good.
that's a fun one. But other than that, that's really all I'm playing right now.
Well, yeah. and you know, and I was gonna say something a second ago, but I just gotta kind of double down. I'm a terrible like Nintendo fan, as in like we have 2 Switches. Like we've got the OLED and we've got the Lite, and we've got that pass that lets you play all the extra games. They just announced all those Game Boy games.
Yeah, I've been playing some of those too. Like I never got to play the Mini-ish
keep
Cap.
Forgetting.
I never got to play the Mini-ish Cap, and I'm playing that, and I'm like, dude, this is my jam, man. I love those old top-down.
Well, like they announced. Yes, well, they announced all these great games to play for free as long as you've got the subscription, which most people do at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yes, yes, yes. And then literally, that's how you know I get too loud. And then literally, like, just kind of sat my phone down and did something else and forgot that they were there. But like, I've seriously spent the last good 7-8 months looking for a Nintendo DS, not the DS, the Game Boy Advance SP with the backlight in it and the clamshell, so I can play Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga like I did back in the day, because that game is so great. And then now it's just on the Switch for free, and I'm like, oh, I need to clear some time. I need to clear some time bad. Like in April here, we're going on vacation to Las Vegas for a wedding. I have to bring that with me, because that's like the only time I'm gonna have time to do anything is on the trip out there and back.
Right. Yeah, I have stuff I've got going on in March too. Like we've got Arcade Expo coming up in a few weeks.
Yep.
Which is going to be fun. That's always it's always a good one. So I'm looking forward to that. You know, there really isn't any like video game releases coming up outside of, I think, Tears of the Kingdom, which is a new Zelda game. And we're gonna talk about that because it's $70.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird. But,
Dead Island 2. I keep forgetting that's coming out until someone reminds me. That was, and I know you were working at GameStop at the time when they had that promotion where it's like, win the GameStop contest and be in Dead Island 2.
Yeah, dude. And it's like the game still isn't out yet. It's crazy.
We're waiting.
We're waiting. We're promised we're gonna give you your prize. It's gonna take.
That'll probably be $70 too.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, hopefully Victor gets in here. I'm sorry, guys. We were hoping that. I don't know if he can come in here now or not. Let me try bringing him in again.
Well, that's the surprise of live entertainment. You never know. Oh, the swirly thing's gone.
Oh, does that mean he's coming in?
Are we gonna? Can you hear me?
Victor, are you there? Hello, Victor. Hello. I don't know what happened.
Middleman, come forth.
Let me send him a message again. Hold on. We're doing it live, damn it. We're doing it live.
Fuck it, we do it. And that's exactly what doing it live is all about. I don't know if you saw my post, but I was like, the show where anything can happen and something that'll get us in trouble probably will. I think I actually deleted that and put something else, but
yeah, I haven't heard from him, so I hope he's coming back in here. But
okay.
But yeah, we're gonna talk about $70 video games. I also want to talk about E3 is supposed to be coming back this year.
Okay.
Too. And I guess that's something you and I can kind of talk about now.
Yeah.
The big saucy topic.
The death of E3. I'm glad it's coming back.
E3 is coming back, but the thing about E3 is none of the main 3 video game companies, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, are not going to be there. So,
I mean, that's cool for the little guys, but like,
yeah,
most of their stuff isn't that great.
Hey now, don't take a shit on the indie devs, Josh. Don't do it. Indie devs have good shit.
I know there's a lot of great indie games, but like
indie games, play
play more indie. I know, and I do, and I do sometimes, and I get caught doing it, and it's like I'm having a fun time. But then I play games like what was that I was the park that luckily I played $1.99 for.
Like
otherwise, I would have been.
You having fun with that?
No, it wasn't. I was so excited until you popped on the chat. And you're like, "This is as exciting as the game gets," and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then I kept playing it. I'm like, "Oh no, this game really is just god awful." And then I started watching like the number of live viewers just tick down, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, this is a bad game. I'm never playing this again. I'm deleting it."
That's a bad one. Yeah. So, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo have all three said they're not going to be at E3.
Mm-hmm.
So of course that leaves basically just developers and publishers that are going to be there, which I don't know of any really that have said that they're going to show up either. What do you think, Josh? You think E3 should just be gone? Like, should we just not even have it anymore? Is there really any point to doing this all in person anymore? What do you think? I'll give my thoughts. I want to hear about yours first, though.
So, and I do have a unique aspect on this because I used to work security for like conventions and trade shows and stuff.
Right.
So, like, I understand the importance because if it is an industry that makes money, there's a get together, whatever you want to call it, convention, trade show, caucus. I like that word a lot. But they get together and it's all the people, in the industry sharing their stuff. And I get the E3 was kind of like that, but because they're a media, it's a media industry getting together, there are, trailer reveals and all sorts of other stuff like that. That's great for the everyday guy. I remember G4, they would have their live constant coverage and watching it and being like, oh boy. In fact, specifically, do you remember E3 the year that Metal Gear Solid 4 came out and that trailer that made you think that Solid Snake like shoots himself?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And in like the world premiere and you come back and like I remember everyone in the room I was in was just like, and then you go back and like Adam Sessler and whoever all they had sitting at the desk was like, what the fuck just happened? And like the silence was everywhere and it was crazy. It was just like a great moment in live television because everyone was feeling the same thing. And it was just like, whoa, we're not going to get stuff like that again if there's just no more E3. But at the same time, E3 isn't E3 anymore either.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I would like to see it come back to its old self, but it's got to be its old self.
Yeah. I personally don't think, give me just a second here. He says he can't get in the room for some reason. That's really weird.
You turn the knob, Victor. Turn the knob and open the door, buddy.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it on?
Turning it off and back on again.
Have you tried unplugging and plugging it back in?
He's probably cussing us out on the other side.
That's the tier 1 tech support right there. Yeah. The Apple Care that you pay for on your phones or whatever, the $99.99 a year.
Have you ever seen the British show? Yeah, well, have you ever seen the British show, The IT Crowd?
Yes.
Have you tried turning it off and back on again? That's what I was thinking of. Like,
right, dude, right.
But no,
I wonder if it will let me do this real quick. Hold on.
There's a lot of really good, cheaper games out there too, is I guess what we were kind of getting to, that would only be able to be done through this, I guess, third party E3. So you're right. We should support it. Like there's a lot of really cool, smaller games out there, that we just wouldn't have. That Scott Pilgrim game, may it be a licensed game, but like that was so good.
That game's hard as fuck, man. I tried playing that again.
Yeah.
And that game is super stupid hard.
That's funny that you say that. I don't know, like
easier difficulty and it's stupid hard. Like the combos, I can't get that shit. Like every time I try, I swear.
Well, Rachel's like really good at like beat 'em up, side scroller games. So I don't know if you remember last year for Valentine's Day, we did a live stream where she played that with me and we played through the whole game on stream and beat it within the time constraints. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get him in here again.
Come on, Victor.
Are you Josh? Are you joining us by your computer?
I am.
Okay, maybe he should try that. I'm on my phone.
You're on your phone. Okay, yeah, no, I'm on my Chromebook. Because I was getting ready to record my Ant-Man review and send it to you afterwards. So like I've got the whole setup. I even had to reset up some of my action figures in the back because stuff fell down the other day. This always happens.
Yeah, I think E3. Me personally, I think it just should just kind of to just die at this point because
you just wanted to die
because there's just no. I mean, all these third-party developers and stuff. They do Summer Game Fest now, so like everything's all on YouTube or Twitch. You can stream it and watch it that way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I do miss like the in-person like conferences and people being on stage. I thought that was really cool, and it kind of sucks now that it seems like we're never going back to that again.
From the pre-COVID, and well, dude, and like the thing is, the flu the last couple years have been ridiculous too. Like I don't want to go do stuff right now because the flu's so bad. If I get it again, like I'll do things that we can't talk about on YouTube because I'm not going to be that sick again for another 2 weeks, man. Yeah. Do you remember me talking about like, hey, I can't do the podcast. I'm dying.
Yeah. No, I do.
I'm not going through that again, man.
No, I totally
but at the same time, like, I don't know. It's you know how much I love cons.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. You know, like, do you have any idea how excited I am for Squared Circle because that's my next con?
I know, dude. Right?
I'm already ready.
Yeah, I have Louisville Arcade Expo. Then after that, I've got Squared Circle Expo.
Yeah, so excited.
I'm gonna tell Victor to like clear his cache in his on his phone, maybe. I'm so sorry, guys. Give me just a second.
I mean, I'll keep a line of dialogue going, because that's the thing about the in person is that you got to actually. I don't know if you can hear that, but I told you you'd hear sirens. I can at least hear it through my feed. You got the in-personal. You know, you've got people coming up and playing trailers for the first time. Do you remember how awesome it was as a kid going to the store with your parents because Target, Walmart, you could go to the electronic section and play video game demos? Like,
dude, all the time.
Yeah. Now I know nowadays with the internet and how easy it is, I can literally sit here and go. I can from my phone go to the PlayStation app, pick up a demo, download it to my console, and it'll be ready to go by the time I get home. That's how impersonal new games are.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And the Harry Potter game, I thought that was an MMO, like everyone was going to be playing online in the same Hogwarts and there'd be servers and it would be just another online game. And then my buddy who's like real serious about it, he's like, no, it's just a storyline game.
Yeah, it's just a standalone solo game.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a massive MMO. I thought that, like, I don't know. That's because games are so impersonal. I'm misunderstanding all sorts of stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. All the people that didn't realize that Final Fantasy VII Remake was going to be released as 3 separate games. I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I knew that from the get-go.
It would be 3 separate games because wasn't it a 3-disc game?
Yeah, it was, but like I don't remember the press release that I read or something saying that it was they were going to release it as 3 separate titles.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And then it was
going to be 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you were even saying that you don't remember that. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I remembered that from the get-go. And I was okay with that. And it was just like, oh, okay. And I don't know if that's the Mandela effect or what, but
that could be a Mandela effect because I don't remember.
I was ready for 3 games.
Ever saying that was the case. Ah, there he is. We got him back in here now.
Oh, we actually got him.
Yo, we got
him. Yeah, it's worth the wait.
Dude, guys, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. I can hear you and I can see you, brother.
I can see you and I can hear you. You're not a spinning little thing.
You guys gotta be kidding me, dude. Hold on.
Oh wait, my turn.
Shut up. Don't do that. If you can turn your phone sideways though, Victor, that way you're a little bit wider.
I have no sound. I can't hear you guys.
Seriously?
Like, I don't know what's going on. If you guys can hear me, I don't know what the hell's going on today with tech.
Turn the volume up on your phone.
Not cool, man. It's
already
maxed.
It's already maxed?
That was my charades.
Go into your settings, touch on your thing, and like it should tell you how to listen, how to be able to listen. You click more, you go to settings. It should give you like audio options.
I like how
on
you're
how to
talking to
listen.
him, but he said he can't hear us.
He is having some serious issues tonight.
Some
What is
serious
going on
issues.
with you, my man?
Yeah, I don't know. I
Let me
think
see.
E3 should come back. At least we'll give it the old college try. I definitely think that the whole developers having, like the PlayStation specific studios and Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo doing their own thing. I think it's cool for like a quarterly review type thing.
Sure.
But as far as the big con, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, because if they want the industry to grow, they got to help the smaller guys to be there to back them up too.
Yeah. No, I agree. No, I completely agree. I mean, I think that I don't think E3 should stay though. I mean, I get the need to have something. Hold on, let me do this. I'm trying to edit his settings before he comes in.
No, dude. Can you? I can hear you now, dude.
Hey,
you can hear us now?
Back.
I don't know. Boy. I don't know what the hell is going on with tech, dude. Like over there, I was on my laptop and I was able to hear you guys for a brief minute, and then you guys died. And I was like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Why is my screen black and it's like buffering?" And I'm like, "What's going on here?" So I'm checking the settings. The mic is on, video is on, everything is on. And I'm like, "Let me go play a video." I can play video. I'm online. Everything's great, but I could not get through StreamYard. And even right now, I had to log off and log back on to hear you guys. So I didn't even mess with the settings.
That's weird,
it was just being weird, dude.
That's weird.
So now I'm on my phone. So my video quality sucks.
We're glad to have you.
Glad to have you.
Hey, better late than ever. It's all good.
I'm about 20 minutes into the show, dude.
Hey,
it's okay. We had like a subtopic. We talked about a couple things,
It's all good. We talk about E3 and if it should come back or not. Do you think E3 should come back, Victor?
You're talking about convention status E3, like with everybody's
like the building? The full show.
Yep, 100%.
Because it's coming back this year.
I want to say yes, only because there's been some iconic moments that have been blunders as well as amazing.
Well, I didn't think about
I would like to see back, dude. I would like to see back.
But the only difference is E3 is not going to have Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo there.
Then what's the point?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There's no reason.
I guess in a roundabout way, that's what I said too. I was just kind of trying to be more up, positive with my answer.
He's trying to be not to be a negative Nancy. He just wants everybody to have fun and
when you're a negative Nancy, when you're a negative asshole 90%, just appreciate the fact when I'm being nice for the 10. Because that's me. I'm a negative asshole 90% of the time.
We got DJ Eric in here saying I'd pay $70 to see these two. Well, he meant $3 in a game.
There you go.
You pay $70 to see us in a game. I don't know. I think it'd be worth about $100 if you ask me.
I don't know if the WWE like SmackDown versus Raw 2009 servers are still up, but my creative wrestlers on there made after me.
Yeah, I don't think that E3 should come back if it's not going to have the big three there. It's just kind of pointless. Like, I feel that now, since COVID happened, everything's been going more digital. And so now that we've got everything can be done in a digital way, you don't need to do things in person anymore. I do miss, of course I'm going to miss because I always wanted to go to E3. I thought just as someone who was a gamer, I thought it'd be kind of cool. But now it's just kind of like, like if I go, I go. But I think to have an E3 and not have your biggest three companies there is just kind of like having Gen Con with no Dungeons and Dragons. Like, there's
because no that's my question is why does it got to be that way? Because when I was saying like a quarterly update, that would be cool from them to do their own thing, and they should still play in the big one. So when COVID, knocked. DC started doing Dome, and the first time they did it, it was like this 2-day experience, and they pretty much like did everything that they would do at Comic-Con, but online. And they had like online queues and everything, and you'd be like, hey, this is starting, and they had like a virtual hall, and you would get to go to which you wanted to do and stuff. It was just like a con, and I did a couple other virtual cons too that were good, but I don't want that to be the future. So like DC still does their little tiny fandoms, and then they still go to San Diego Comic-Con and all that stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the future is going to end up being this dual citizenship, dude. It's going to be we're going to have a venue, but we're also going to have the virtual. And I think that the virtual cons, when they first rolled out, Brian, and we discussed this back in the day, a couple years back, they were not great.
They were
they had a lot of hiccups. Everything
I was
sucked.
nicer about it, but yeah.
No, I'm just straight up. That's what it was. It was not.
No, because you're right. Like I don't mean to recant, but like,
no, but now it is. Now it is, right?
Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah, they were great. Like I really like DC's, but like I'm not even gonna say which one I didn't like because they're nice people that run it. But I did a couple of online conventions and it was just kind of like I spent $80 for this.
Yeah,
it was like damn. But
yes,
I get what you're saying.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did.
You totally did. Let's get right into the meat and potatoes of our discussion here. Since now we got Victor here, I didn't want to talk about this without my man. But since 2020, Sony kicked off when they launched the PS5, $70 price point of first-party games, and then of course NBA 2K of course was the first company when NBA 2K21 came out, was the first third-party $70 game. And the reason why I'm bringing this up now, 3 years later, is because Nintendo announced 2 weeks ago that the new Legend of Zelda game, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, is going to be a $70 Nintendo Switch game. So I want to know, guys, what I've got a lot of feelings about this all across the board, but I want to know what you guys think about. We'll start with just $70 games in general. How do you guys feel about we've had games be that's $59.95, $60 price point for a decade now, probably even dare I say 2 decades. It's been a very very long time that we have been used to having our games be $60 before taxes. What do you guys think about the games being $70 now? How do you guys feel about that?
I have 2 completely opposing thoughts.
Okay.
On one end of the spectrum, that's the way she fucking goes, bud. It's inflation. Everything's bad. Look at the price of eggs and tell me a $10 hike on something that was already, that much. It's not that big a deal, dog. Sure. But on the other hand, we're kind of going in a direction where most people buy digital games now, and that's almost fucking offensive to charge $70 to download a game.
I agree.
As opposed to a physical price, sure. You got to pay for them to be shipped. You have an actual physical item. You've got artwork. You've got the disc. You've got everything. But like when I go and buy a brand new digital game, which is what I prefer all the way around, it less clutter, less. I had somebody like a friend come in when I was in high school and I was gone and steal all of my PlayStation 1 and 2 games and just like leave the cases. So ever since then, I'm just kind of like, yeah, fuck physical copies. I want a digital backup. And so it's like it's almost egregious to charge that. No, it is egregious to charge that much for a digital version of a game. You want to sell me the same game for $40-$50? Sure, I'll bite. Brand new game, but like $70, no, man. I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna be happy about it the whole time.
For sure. I get that. I mean, I think that for a lot of people, the reason why a lot of people think that the price went up for video games when it came to Sony and Xbox is because graphically, it takes more effort and more work to put in 4K, 60 FPS, even 120 FPS now for some games, and then you also have the fact that there's ray tracing and things like that. I think that is a reason as to why. I think also it has a lot to do with the fact that there are companies that are still making games for both last gen and this gen. So they probably want to feel like the last gen is a cheaper price point and for $70 you're paying for a more premium, graphically better, a smoother experience, I guess, in a way. But to be also fair on that side too, Xbox didn't start doing this until I think last year. And they had already been making Xbox Series X games that already had 4K 60 FPS. So it's kind of weird. I will say that I'm not going to ever defend raising of prices on anything. I'm not going to defend when any company raises prices. I get the fact that there's inflation, but let's agree that inflation has been around for a long time anyway.
Right.
And
that was kind of my meaning of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And video games have not ever really been hit with inflation prices. As I said, we've had $60 price point of video games now for 2 decades. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily an inflation issue. I know some people, I think for me, it could be very well the fact that, it can cost more, and production studios are having to now make basically 2 games. They have to make one for old school and one for last gen and one for this gen. So it could take more production time to put in those more powerful graphics and things like that. But before we get into specifically my thoughts on Legend of Zelda, hold
on, dude. It's my turn to chime in real quick.
I was gonna let you get in on this. What do you think about this, Victor?
We are extremely lucky that we're still only paying $70, dude. I remember back in the 90s when the video games were like $49.99. So we're talking about only a $20 difference between 30 years. And we're not talking about inflation. We're not talking about any of that stuff. I'm talking about just simple minimum wage, dude. Yeah. That when these pay raises keep hitting us, that cost has to come to the consumer. And that's why I still think we're really lucky that everyone's getting $15, $16, $17 an hour pay, that has not been added to these games yet. So it's not a matter of, putting in more work or more HD or double the whatever. I just think it's the simple man hours, dude. The man hours have been there, but because the price or the pay has been low, we've been lucky enough to have that low pay. But now that it's up there, dude, I expect it to go up higher.
I think to challenge your point, and I had a conversation with somebody about this last night on Twitter. As far as games back in the 80s and 90s, you have to also understand there was a plethora of video games coming out across so many different consoles. You had 3DO, Philips CDI, you had Sega, you had Nintendo, you had Atari. It isn't like it is today where we really just have 3. We have Switch, PS4, PS5, and Xbox, and we have PC. Back then, you had like a wild and crazy, it was almost like a jungle, if you will, back then, of various video game companies. Everyone was trying to put out a console back then. You guys know that. It just, so I think that might have had to do with the reason why there was no real sweet spot back then growing up, because no one really knew what to price their games for. And you also kind of got to understand too, video gaming was still in its mainstream. Video gaming was still in those infant stages, even in the 80s and the 90s, where in the 70s we had Atari, that helped make video games be more into households, and then Nintendo made video gaming more mainstream. So I think back then, the reason why is because no one really knew what the sweet spot was for a video game. And so you had to kind of you can't really find the sweet spot until you have the data, right? So once they were starting to see, okay, what can people afford? What's better? Because I know you guys would agree, I'm all for accessibility. I want everybody to be able to enjoy video games, and despite the price, right? And so I think back then that's what they were trying to figure out was what's a fair price to charge. It's kind of like when the car was invented. Nobody knew what to charge for a car.
Right.
You didn't know the value of stuff then.
But we're talking about 40 years of data now, dude. So we can't, we can't let that sit and be like, all right, dude, okay, we didn't have an idea. No, we got a very good idea now. We've been lucky. And, we've been extremely lucky that has not gone up higher than what it is. And I'm going to use your analogy, dude. I'm going to say like pizza. Pizza places have been around forever. You got mom and pop places, and everybody knows. You're paying about $8, $9, $10 per pizza, dude. That's not the case anymore. You're paying more now because people are getting paid more to make that pizza. So I kind of think that we're going to see that with games coming soon, real quick.
But I think with gaming, it has always been the standard of AAA video games that are not indie games have always been $59.95, and that's just been the price point for brand new AAA studios. Like Rockstar Games, Activision, EA, etc., who put, or first party, studios like Sony and Microsoft. They've all been $60. So we also have been lucky in the sense that they all haven't decided to make their own price points. Oh, Switch games are going to be 50, Xbox games are going to be 80, PS5 games are going to be 60. It's because they all want to do the same thing. They all want to try to be fair market and comparable. And they don't, and one brand doesn't want to necessarily say, oh, well, we're more expensive than the other, right? So I think it has a lot to do with that. So what I want to talk about too is when it comes to the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is a 6-year-old piece of tech. Came out in 2017. I can't believe it's been that old already. It's 6 years old, and they announced a few weeks ago that the new Legend of Zelda game, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, is going to be Nintendo's very first ever $70 game. So my thoughts on this are it's 6-year-old tech. So I don't think from a tech standpoint it makes a whole lot of sense to charge $70. Because Breath of the Wild was $60 and it was a very massive game. I do know that Tears of the Kingdom is going to be on a 32 gigabyte game cartridge, whereas Breath of the Wild was on a 16 gigabyte game cartridge, so it is bigger storage. So this is supposed to be a much bigger game. However, to people that say that, because I've had people tell me, well, it's the size of the card. The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt came out on the Switch, and it was also a 32 gigabyte card, and it actually came with a lot more stuff. It had a printed map, it had a printed full color booklet, soundtrack, and all kinds of stuff that cost money to publish and print, and it was still $60. So I don't think it's necessarily the size of the card that you're paying more for. I think to a lot of people, $70 for a game, I think you expect there to be more value if you're going to raise the price of something that's tangible like that you're going to be playing and getting into. Now, we know that the graphics look pretty much the same as they did for Breath of the Wild. So I want to know, what do you guys think about a console that is technically a last generation console, the Switch, deciding to start charging one of their games at $70? I want to know what you guys think about that. A 6-year-old piece of tech that's going to be charging a game $70.
Well, I have a legitimate question, and I say this prefaced with the fact that earlier I admitted I'm a terrible Nintendo fan. I know that the new Switch, they're calling it the OLED Switch because of the display on it.
Screen.
Yeah, but did they change anything else about the inside of it?
Not really.
Not pretty much.
Okay.
No,
I didn't know if it was being marketed as a new thing because, like I said, I'm a bad fan when it comes to Nintendo.
Yeah.
But my nephew was over last week and he was like, "Oh no, don't you dare call that the Switch. That's the Switch OLED."
And
I'm like,
"Yeah, it's just
all right, dog.
screen.
Like, if it's that big of a difference, my bad. But first of all, you're 7."
Yeah, it's literally just a bigger screen. They don't have games that are specifically made for it. It's kind of like, okay, you know how they had the Nintendo 3DS, or they had the DS and then the 3DS.
Yeah.
And they literally made games for the 3DS that were in 3D.
Yeah.
So it's like that, but they didn't make specific games for the OLED. It's just a bigger display.
And that was my question: if it was enough of a hardware upgrade to consider it a new second console.
It's like a mid-generational hardware upgrade, but it's not like It's
like
not like it's
the difference between a PlayStation and a PlayStation Pro when they come out.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of.
That's how I see it.
Kind of.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, but it's definitely not
because to piggyback on what Brian just said, you're not making games specifically for the PlayStation Pro. It's just the same thing, better graphics. It'll render quicker. You know what I mean? Things like that. But I wouldn't say that it's a major upgrade, dude.
Well, since now that I have that knowledge, because I legitimately was in the dark about that, fuck that. I think that the only reason that Nintendo's charging that much is because everybody else is too, and they're like, well, I like money.
Yeah.
Give me money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
what do you think about this, Victor?
I'm telling you guys, that's just the way it's gonna be, and I think we're gonna have to suck it up already because
I don't like that answer.
Whether it's 6-year-old tech or not, doesn't matter. Someone put the man hours to make that, and we have to pay that dude to make this game, dude. That's what it's saying.
Shit doesn't cost the same that it did 6 years ago.
They've been doing that 2 decades. It's 6-year-old tech. Nothing has changed. Literally nothing.
I think we just got pampered by Nintendo because of how many the Wii U, the Wii Super Duper 9000. I don't know what all kept coming out after that because, like I said, I'm a bad Nintendo fan, but they literally were coming out with new iterations. They're like, "Oh, you got the Wii last week? Well, if you didn't get the Wiimote with the Super Gyroid control and the controller, then you're last week's garbage. Get to the store and buy one, loser." And that's when I stopped paying attention to all the new Nintendo stuff.
What I think is funny is,
for as non-modern, you guys have a valid reason. You guys are talking about hardware. Hardware costs money. I get that. Yeah. But there's still got to be someone that's working behind the scenes that's going to have to get paid a fair amount. And if that price, the price of the workers, dude, is going to drive up the price of the game.
I don't think it's.
We're paying for that Mario movie.
I don't think it's justifiable because people are still tangible when it comes to video games. They need to see something to know the value. You have to be able to say, okay, I can literally see why this is a $10 more experience. And you guys realize this is actually the very first time in gaming in the last 2.5 decades that a console midway through its generation has raised the prices of a game. That's never been done before. So that's why I'm a little weird, because I think it's kind of weird to I know there are a lot of people out there making excuses for it, and I'm like, no, there's no excuse for that, because we lived through the PS2, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, the One. They were all $60 games, and they all had, they all had to work harder, be faster, be stronger, what have you, and those prices stayed exactly the same then. So I think for Nintendo, I will say it would make a lot more sense to me, because I'm tangible. I have to see it. You have to give me a visual or an experience as to why this game's going to be more expensive. I think for me, if they had done what they had done in the past with Zelda, because Breath of the Wild was a day one Switch game, I believe, right? And then what was the one before that? Skyward Sword was the debut game for the Wii and Wii U. It was last Wii game and the first Wii U game. So every console generation so far in the last 2 maybe, they've kicked off a new console with a Zelda game. So it would have made more sense to me if Nintendo, and who knows, Nintendo could very well next month say, hey, by the way, the new Switch is coming out in May, and you have 2 months to pre-order it, and you can get Breath of the Wild in this new console. They could still do that. I think if they launched a brand new console and they said, okay, it's $70 on the new Switch or whatever the new console is, and it's $60 on the regular Switch, then that might make a little bit more sense, because now I know, okay, $70, I'm paying for better graphics, or I'm paying for something better. Then that might make sense, because here's what doesn't make sense. Nintendo does this thing. Are you guys familiar with the voucher program Nintendo does, where you pay $100 and you save like $30 and you get 2 vouchers to buy 2 Switch games? So you can still do that with Tears of the Kingdom and still only pay $60. So make it make sense, Nintendo. It does not make sense. So that's what's weird to me. I understand the fact that they could very well raise these prices higher with inflation and things like that. And I mean, I'm still going to buy the game. It's a $10 price increase. But I think that for Nintendo, it makes a lot less sense than it does for Sony and Xbox to do that. And there's people on there online that are defending the price hike, and I'm like, why are you defending a corporation? These corporations, at the end of the day, don't defend a corporation. They don't care about you. You're not a shareholder. You're not an employee. At the end of the day, they want your money. So I'm not going to sit here and defend a price hike, but I'm just trying to understand it. And I just kind of don't. It doesn't make as much sense as what I've had a few people tell me. Now, I will say that Nintendo did say that this is a case-by-case thing, which I think is also really interesting. They said they're not making every game.
They better not.
Which is weird to me. How do you guys feel about that? Like, they're not making...
Then that definitely makes me feel like they're doing it just because they can.
I think it's because it's Zelda. They know they're going to make money on Zelda.
It feels like they're testing the water, dude. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
They're testing the water.
Because Zelda is premium shit.
What kind of backlash people are going to get,
Yeah.
Because, I'm not going to lie. If I had to pick one Nintendo franchise to ever play again, it'd be Zelda. and it wouldn't be
sure.
a half of a hesitant decision.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna miss Mario. I'm gonna miss all the other fun little games they have. But if I had to choose one franchise to ever play ever again,
oh, dude, for
Zelda,
sure.
Legend of Zelda series.
Yeah. And I've heard there's there's
but
people out there
it's
that are like,
one of those deals that it's very weird because it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead, Victor. Go for it.
Dude, no, I was just saying it's very weird how, like Josh was saying, and you're saying too, Brian, is why not make it across the board? Mm-hmm. Something that we're literally really just, testing the waters on, because, I would like to believe you're taking care of your people. Your people need to get paid, so you haven't put that price on there. That's one thing. But if you're going to start, saying this one is 70, but this one is 60, but now this one's going to be 55, and this is going to be 67.2. And you're like, dude, what's going on now? That's not going to make any sense to me now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I really do think this is testing the waters to see if there's going to be backlash. But I, honest to God, believe that it's going to happen. We're going to hit that 70 mark because we've been blessed with 60 for ever. And it's bound to happen.
Yeah, no.
I think for me, I've heard people I talked to recently say that they would pay that, oh, it's Zelda, I would pay $3,000 for Zelda. Well, I mean, you would pay $3,000. I wouldn't pay $3,000. Fuck that. I'm not gonna. I don't care if it's Zelda. I don't care what it is. I'm not gonna spend that much money. Why would you do that? Why would you? I mean, why? I wouldn't do that. I'm not gonna. I don't have lavish amounts of money sitting in my closet over here that I can just grab some stacks and drop $3,000. I don't do that. I think that games should be accessible. You got to be, price is important. It's okay to be to feel a certain kind of way about paying a little bit more money. But if I'm paying a little bit more money, this isn't like we're going and getting eggs. This isn't eggs. Eggs are eggs. Eggs are going to be eggs. Eggs go up and down.
Scary. As someone who grew up on a farm, I hate how much eggs are right now.
Dude, but that's what I'm getting at. This isn't like a good, right? Where it's gonna be what it is. Right. It is what it is, no matter the price. This is not the same. This is you're saying you're gonna charge more, so then you better be delivering something more.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. So, over in the toy realm, not to take this out of our genre, over in action figures right now, Hasbro's kind of doing a thing where they've been on the sneak raising prices, and there's a pretty tight-knit community of the people who collect specifically Hasbro figures. And granted, me, I do everything.
For sure. Yep.
So there was this conversation that got started the other day by a YouTuber displaying model behavior. I absolutely watch his new episodes every week. He was talking about the Marvel Spider-Man, like the PS4 Spider-Man, they made a Marvel Legend action figure for that one. And then they made one for Miles when it came out. When that Miles one came out, the price of that original Spider-Man hit the secondary markets. It hit $100 as an action figure. Originally sold for $25 depending on where you got it from. So Hasbro comes along and goes, hey, they're making a Spider-Man too. So they're releasing literally the same figure. No retooling, no reprints, no extra stuff packed in. I think it's $45 for the pre-order on their website. Yeah.
They're charging more for the exact same thing?
Because they know people will buy it, because your other option is to go to eBay and buy the one in the original packaging, the old school packaging for $100. And that's kind of what everyone's talking about. They're like, I get inflation, but none of the other figures are like this. Hasbro does Power Rangers. They've got the Ghostbuster line. They've got the Jurassic Park line. They do Star Wars. They've got the Star Wars action figure lines. They're not doing it to a single one of those figures, but it was this one Spider-Man that's literally got the whole toy community going, hey, Hasbro, lower your prices or we're going to stop buying action figures. Yeah. And I thought about it. And it's like, I'm not going to stop buying toys. And it's like, no, I really got to stand with my people and stop buying so many Marvel figures if they're just going to keep reusing the old one.
It's exactly what we're just talking about, though, man. If you're picking and choosing what is being jacked up and what isn't, that's not right.
Yes,
they're doing it. They're doing it.
You got to make it across the board. And this is why I think the $70 price tag is going to be across the board. That's what we're going to get.
And that's exactly
we're going to get.
And that's exactly my point. it's like, why you're doing this to be a dick, not because this is how much it's going to cost plus profit. This is because fuck you, that's why.
It feels like a scalper, dude. It feels like all those jackasses that are like
we're getting scalped from the source
and everything and selling them for 3 times the price. It's like once you start doing that, dude, you're really screwing with the market and you're screwing with people. And at that point in time, man, you're gonna get some angry ass people coming after you, you know?
Like for me, when I found out they were gonna make the game $70 on Sony and Xbox, I was like, okay, fine, like it's a new gen, it's a new generation. We're playing on the hardware. The hardware is more expensive. The hardware costs more money to make. They're already limited on consoles. You have to think about that. So yeah, okay, I get a $10 price increase, but look, dude, this is Nintendo, which is filthy rich. They have all the kinds of money. They're not in a console bind. They haven't been. The consoles have been for the longest time now for the Switch. Whether it's an OLED, you have the OLED, you have the one that's just the handheld, and then you have the Lite, and then you have the regular Switch. So I mean, it's not like you can't get a console. I just think it's really weird to me, and this is why I think it's just not right. You're gonna do a raise in price. I don't care if it's Zelda. I don't care what game it is. I don't care if it's Zelda or a dodgeball game. I don't give a shit. You're raising the price of a game midway through the life cycle of the same console that came out 6 years ago that literally doesn't have any upgraded hardware or tech or anything like that. If the games had better graphics or all that, that's fine. And if you want to sit there and say, oh, well, the game has tons to do. Grand Theft Auto 5, motherfucker. Tons of shit to do. Has a plethora of stuff online, and it's still released at $60. Do I like the fact that they try to get people to buy those shark cards and shit? I absolutely don't agree with that stuff.
No.
But I will say that took a lot of people to make that game, and it was only $60. They could have easily charged $70 for that game because of how much content is in it.
Huge game,
and it's a ginormous game. But they only charge $60, and you can still. And now I think that game's cheaper now. I think it's a lot cheaper now. But like at the end of the day, they even did a remaster of that game, and it's still cheaper. They didn't even charge $70 for that either. So, and then to say that it's on a bigger card. Okay, The Witcher. There's. I had a list here. Let me see. Where's my list? There are 4 games that all came out on a bigger. Well, three before Zelda that have been released on a 32 gigabyte. Cartridge, like what we're getting with Zelda. The Witcher 3, you had Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2, the Asian version of the game, and then you had Dragon Quest Builders in Japan. All 3 of those games came out on a 32 gigabyte card. Some of those came over to America, and they didn't charge more for it. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they're testing it out on a console that's still last gen tech. I mean, it's old tech. It'd be kind of like if I don't know if the PS3 was still around, or better yet, PS4 is still around. They said, "Hey, we're going to start charging $75 for PS4."
The what?
Games. Like, why? Why would you do that? It's old tech. It's old tech. It's just weird. It's just weird.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and then it's the simple fact that like games go on sale for so cheap sometimes too. So for Christmas, both the boys got a $50 gift card each from their grandma. Rachel's mom.
Yeah.
And they had gotten an Amazon gift card from someone else for $10 a piece each. And I was like, hey, if you give me your Amazon gift cards, like I'll use that $20, no problem. And you can add that to your PlayStation stack and get more games. Yeah. They hit that President's Day sale and literally bought every single game. They even got the 2K23 WWE or 22 WWE, like everything but the Wolfpack edition was discounted to like $18. And they were like, fine, throw it in there. And I was like, seriously? They're like, yeah. That's and so funny, finally at the end of it, it was $71.
Dude, I'm telling you.
And they still have a whole nother $50 gift card to use later. Yeah. And they got like everything they wanted from that sale. They're like, oh, we got so many games. It was cute too, because they were just so happy with the amount of games. But then like Spider-Man 2. That's probably the next like AAA like big game that I'm gonna get unless something else is coming out in between that I've forgotten.
I'm playing through the remaster right now. I wanna kind of refresh my mind on the
but
game.
Like Spider-Man 2, I'm gonna pay that $70. And I don't know. It's going to kind of be in the back of my mind only because I buy my games a really weird, specific way. Like I was saying earlier in this episode, is I mainly do digital, but like I have a credit card specifically connected to my PlayStation that I only buy my games with. Those are the only charges that ever show up on that card. And I did that to help build my credit because you have to use credit to get credit. And like 7-8 years ago, I found out that like I didn't have enough credit to get a new car because you have to have so many counts in so many years. I'm like, well, how do I build credit? So I came up with this scheme to just buy games and pay them off real quick.
Nice.
So it's like, I don't really think about it, but like still that $70 when I get it, I'm going to be paying it off over the next couple months because my card payment's like $30, but it's just like, I'm going to think about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to think about it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Dude, it's really hard. It's really hard to get me on a day one game. It really is.
Really?
Dude. But just like you said, it is. I don't do day one games. I really don't. Unless it's Zelda, unless it's Metroid. You're not gonna see me in many lines getting anything on day one, dude. That's just not me.
See, I do the games that are really big important to me. I didn't buy, so I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. We've talked about this. I didn't buy Kakarot until like recently because the Game of the Year edition was on sale for like $18 on the Christmas sale, and I waited. I literally bided my time and waited because I knew that as much as I wanted to play that game now, it would be cheaper later, and I don't have enough time right now to play it.
Right. Yeah, I don't have a problem with paying $70 for a game. I just when it comes to the Switch in particular, I'm gonna be a little more questionable, if you will, because once again, it's I think casual gamers aren't gonna care if it's Zelda. It's Zelda. They might not care so much, but for people who, because let's face it, like back then when Victor, you had mentioned like there were so many different price points for games. I saw a picture the other day of somebody showing a photo of a Toys R Us back in like 1989. And you had like one game was $75, another game was $60, one game was $45, another game was $50.
I forgot about those days.
And the thing is but see, back then graphics were not as advanced as they are now. So of course now people care way more about graphics, and you can't say, well, I don't care if people think about graphics. You got to care about graphics because they are important, because that's why a lot of people buy new consoles, because you want the new, better looking, smoother gameplay, things like that. Me personally, I'm a little more old school, so like I don't necessarily always care about graphics, but if you're going to be charging me more money, then I'm going to care. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to know, I used to work I've worked retail for a long time. You guys know this. And when I worked at a shoe store, somebody wanted to know what's the difference between the $70 pair of Nikes and the $60 pair of Reebok, right? What's the difference? What's the $10 difference? Well,
$10.
You're paying for a Nike, you're paying for the swoosh. That's the difference, right? But and people do care about those minute, price.
I don't know what happened to Brian, but I completely, as I sat in my special edition Secret Labs chair, I completely agree. Sometimes things are just a name and a status symbol.
It is.
Dude. It's a status symbol. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
I do
that is all chair. It is. Yeah. That's exactly
You're buying the name. You're buying the name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're buying the name. And sometimes that's what you are paying for, is just that, the swoosh, right? Like I have people all the time. What's the difference? Why is this $60 New Balance shoe feel better? What's the difference between that and a $75 pair of, say, Rockports or something like that? Like another fancier name. And it's like, well, to me, honestly, I think these feel better. That's just a more fancier name. Doesn't mean it feels better. But like to a lot of people, it's like that weird effect where just because it's got the name brand means it somehow in your head feels better, and it's like, no, it's not. That's not true. Like,
that's right.
It doesn't mean anything.
That's how some people see things.
This is a $15 action figure, and this is a $40 action figure. This actually looks like Johnny Lawrence. I would have to tell you that this is Miguel from Cobra Kai. It was like, to be specific, but this actually looks like William Zabka.
But so that's what I'm getting at. But see, that's what I'm getting at, is if these games are going to be $70, and they better be fucking good. That's my whole point, is if you're going to be charging me $10 more, then you better be giving me $10 more of something. And So that's why, a lot of people don't have a lot of high expectations with Tears of the Kingdom because it basically takes place in the same damn map, but it's just in the sky. It's kind of like, to me, I made a joke with somebody I know the other day. I said, this is just Skyward Sword DLC for Breath of the Wild. That's what this is. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, see, like. I didn't know what was going on with it, but if that's what it is, that'd make me mad.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but I hope that it's going to be on a 32 gigabyte card, so it's supposed to be more data, which to me, in my mind, makes me think there's going to be more content. But I just, who knows, man? I'm going to buy it, and that's got to be the reason why they did it, right? Is Zelda. If you're going to do it with any game first, you're going to do it with your big money maker, right? And so they're going to do it with Zelda. I mean, they're not going to do it with like some other game. They're not going to do it with like Mario Golf or some shit like that. Yeah, they're not going to do it with Mario Golf or Mario Party or something like that. They know that they'll make.
Show some respect for Mario Party.
I like Mario Party.
Hey, tell that to my palm, bro. Tell that to my palm. That's still hurting from my 64 days, man.
Dude, I bought Rachel the new one for Christmas, and it was just like she was just happy to have it. She's like, "Oh,
I need to download that.
Mario Party."
Yeah, it's great. But I hope that I don't know how many times they're gonna do this. Rumor has it that there already is a pre-order page on Amazon for Metroid Prime 4 that's $70. So who knows? I did enjoy it. Speaking of Metroid, Victor, have you played the Metroid Prime remaster yet?
I haven't played the remastered. I just recently saw the direct for it, and when I saw it in the eShop right away, I was this close to picking it up because Metroid Prime is amazing. I love that game.
Dude, this is my first time.
But I haven't touched the remastered one though. So I
never beat that. I never beat it.
No,
played it all the way through. Dude. I am loving it so far.
It's so good, so good. Even that intro shot where she morphs into the ball and she rolls up. It's so good, dude. It's great. That whole intro scene is awesome. The whole game is awesome. You got to get through it. Get through it, dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us here on our new episode of Friendly Fire. We do keep these episodes up on our YouTube channel for you guys to go back through our other 3 episodes that we've done. And I'm gonna let these guys know. I haven't told them what the topic is for next week, so they're gonna be just as surprised as you will be. Next week, our topic is gonna be: do you think physical games are gonna go away? Physical games, are they disappearing? Do you think there's going to be a time when they're going to go away, just like CDs and stuff like that for music? So I'm going to let you guys think about that, and we're going to come back here next week and talk about if you think that digital is the future, if it's going to take over, our thoughts on digital game prices. I know I got a lot of thoughts on that, and what you guys think about the future. Yeah, I know you do, Josh.
I'm very opinionated about that.
So we're going to talk about that. That'll be a good one. Yeah, so join us. I think we're going to be back here next Wednesday to talk about physical versus digital video game media and if it's going to stick around or not. So, I've heard several people say, well, we're going to talk about GameStop too, because I know GameStop's not doing so good. They've had to let go of a lot of employees recently. And, and how that's going to impact mom and pop stores or stores like GameStop, Best Buy, things like that. So stay tuned for that. That'll be here next week. I believe we'll be back here Wednesday again or Thursday, one of the two, but we'll get that sorted out. But when we do, we'll let you guys know when that next episode is going to go live. Thank you guys so very much for watching us here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. We're getting closer to 1,300 subscribers. And almost closing in on a YouTube partnership as well. So thanks so much for hanging out with us. We definitely appreciate it. I do see you over there in the comments. Eric, thanks for hanging out with us.
He's been cracking me up.
Yeah, he's been cracking me up with these comments, man. But also, if you're watching this too after it's live, let us know in the comments below your thoughts on the topic at hand. How do you feel about $70 video games? Let us know in the comments below. Until next week, we'll see you guys on another episode of Friendly Fire. Until then, we'll see you guys. Bye.
Peace.